pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you all for coming. Got a lot of business to take care of here, so I'm going to ask that any comments or questions be held until the last period of public comment. Did everybody get a chance to look at the 3 sets of minutes from previous meetings?
Yes.
Any corrections?
There was just one word that we said there was, but there's no.
Yeah, typo.
Still meant the same thing though.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the definitions. One's a little animal and the other one will be running away, so. Yeah, it was a flea market. Typo. If there's no corrections, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes of January 26th.
I make a motion we accept the minutes for January 26th of 2000.
Second.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? Passed unanimously. Entertain a motion to accept the minutes of January 28th.
Make a motion to accept the January 28, 2021 minutes.
And a second?
I'll second.
The second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passed unanimously. I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes of February 3rd meeting as written.
Make a motion we accept the special session minutes on February 3rd.
I'll second it.
Charlie seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passed unanimously. All right, fire department report. Talked with Kurt outside so he could get back to work. We've had a number of calls out this month. Everything's going well, equipment, nothing new. 2 things. There is a fire truck that is up. That's been offered to every fire agency statewide in the rural area. It has pumps that actually meet the minimum pumping requirements. It's a diesel, where ours are gas. It's much better on the pumping system with the diesel. And there's a small fee. It's somewhere between, our purchase price be somewhere between $500 and $1,000. If we did get chosen to do it, what that truck would do is replace one of the ones that needs the pumps rebuilt. And we've approved to rebuild the pumps on those 2 trucks, but even the pump remedy on one truck is about double what the purchase of this truck would be. Talked to the maintenance department, and the maintenance department would like to have access or possession of the truck that this newer one would replace. We could use it for a number of things, but what everybody can relate to is for the roads that aren't under the dust abatement program. During special events or flea markets, we could use that to water those streets. There's nothing wrong with the pump for that, it just doesn't meet the standards for minimum fire duration, so pumping. So That's all we know on that. We should know sometime in next week if we were chosen or not. And then we can, that would be in time for our next meeting, and we can go ahead and deal with the funding issue at that point.
How are they deciding who gets the truck?
Pardon?
How are they deciding who gets the truck?
I don't know what the requirements are on that. Definitely, it'd be a needs-based deal. Kurt's take care of that, so. The second issue, which affects the city, citywide, is the staffing of our fire departments, Powder River's and ours. And we're kind of down to skeleton crews, so they would like to run a recruitment program, and part of how they would like to advertise that is to use the READ board. So part of the issue is with all the potential COVID calls that they've had, this one especially has kind of taxed them a little bit because of staffing here. Not everybody's available as often as these calls come in. Is that what's going on with you guys too? So in that sense, it's COVID related, because that's what's happening right now, but and for the foreseeable future. So any thoughts on or questions on allowing the fire department to advertise? What they'd like to do is have a meeting where everybody can get together that's interested, have some pizza, and you guys can give your spiels to try to recruit some people, hopefully some younger than me, even people, and we do have them. Just need to try to bring them in, expose them to it a little bit. So, council's thoughts.
Well, you're on two different tangents right now. One of them is recuperating our reader board in for recuperating help. And we were, and we were on a fire truck that we need to vote on. This is what we want to do. We have to, well, it's in 2 weeks, but the thing is though, is Kurt has to be able to say, yeah, we have the blessing to do this.
Yeah, we could go that route.
Well, that's what I would think. I don't think Kurt can go, yeah, we're going to do this when we haven't voted on it.
No, he just let them know that we were interested in the process. We got chosen, then we would have to accept it and fund it. Yeah, but we certainly give him the authorities, clear authority to.
Well, that's what I say. I didn't know if you needed that clarification,
I don't know.
because I would think that he would need the clarification from council to say, yeah, we're going to do this. And this truck, as you said, replaces one of the trucks that's got a bad pump.
Right. Being that it's it's not something that we're taking action on in the sense of accepting the truck. It's looking into the process, saying we're interested in the process, and
Well, we're interested in the process of obtaining the truck.
yeah.
Because it doesn't do any good if they come back and say, yeah, you can have the truck, when it comes to council and go, oh, we can't do this.
So are you presenting a motion?
So I make a motion that we give the authority to Kurt to look into this truck and see if we can get it for the $1,000 maximum.
Okay, so you're making a motion to apply to the process.
Right, because like I said, right now, we stipulated with the $1,000 cap, because that's half of what it's gonna cost to rebuild the pump on the truck.
Okay, you want to reword that then?
No.
Simpler?
I don't know how. I just told you the way that it is.
So Charlie's making a motion to apply to the state agency for the fire truck mentioned with $1,000 cap for its purchase.
There you go.
Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, second issue is the read board. Well, we have to vote on that.
I don't feel like it's just benefit city.
Yeah, it'll benefit the whole area because Powder River will be, we have that mutual agreement, so it'll be a mutual recruitment meeting.
Are they gonna move it down farther, or where are they gonna do it? You know?
We didn't discuss that,
So,
but it would be probably down there in the town so everybody can see it. And he doesn't have a date yet.
okay.
So I'll entertain a motion to provide use of the reader board to the fire department for the recruiting.
I make a motion that we, fire department, the board for recruitment.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Charlie seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? Okay, planning, they didn't have a meeting, so there's nothing to report. Public Works, we did receive the spare grader with the busted engine this week from the county. It looks a little worse wear on the motor than now that we have a little more information on it. But there are tons of parts on there that are potentially better than what we have on our own. So I think it was a well worth investment. Other than that, everything's working good. Everything's within standards. So takes care of that. Everybody will get a chance to go over the bills.
Yes.
Any questions?
I do.
Martin?
Can you make the print a little bit bigger?
I'm just trying to fit it on one page, but I'm more than happy to do that.
I'll pay for an extra sheet.
Sounds
Use
like
the longer paper.
Put it on both sides.
There you
Sounds like
go.
a plan.
We're all being bad eyes.
I don't know, I have no problem with it.
Give yourself 20 years, buddy. Any questions on any of the bills?
I think it is important to note that we have our once annual payment for the large water loan coming up here on the 21st of this month. It's noted on here for the estimated expenses. But just worth noting, $43,000.
The other issue that we put off from last time was we withheld the $5,000 check, partial payment to Buckley Law, until we got a better understanding of what he was billing for through the processes of the meetings that we've had with him. I think we have a better understanding of what the process has been, what he's had to deal with and do for us. I don't know how you guys feel, but I was talking with Rob. I don't have any personal questions as far as, of course, I've had more communications with him, so I probably have a more detailed understanding of things that he's done. You guys still want to put this on, do just a partial payment, we're in a new month, and wait for his detailed explanation, In light of what's happening right now, it would probably take place after the processes he's involved in right now, or do we want to go ahead and pay this? And then in discussions with Rob, if we are in agreement to pay, we're just worried about, do we have the money to do it right now? Rob has expressed to me that we do, and he thinks it would be in the city's best interest to go ahead and pay this balance of $17,000. So, Rob?
Well, yeah, my statement was you're earning interest on it because, I mean, you're essentially financing it. I mean, if your intent is to pay the full amount, then I would pay it off sooner than later.
I think we ought to just pay the 5,000 for now. Shows good faith on our part, and we can always negotiate the interest. The attorneys always forgive the interest.
Any other thoughts?
For other bills or that.
Not just that one. Yeah, on the Buckley situation.
But theoretically, though, we're $5,000 behind too, right? Because we didn't pay last month.
No, this includes that.
You didn't set it up on a structured payment plan. You've just been paying a portion of it each time.
Oh, yeah, because I know that, well, when the bill came forth, it was another 5,000 and we didn't pay. Because we wanted to hear.
Yeah, because I was instructed months ago to just pay 5,000 a month.
So any other issues with paying the 5,000 this time? Yeah, Martin, you have another question?
Yeah, when is the $4 service charge? The city ought to get a free account. Why are we paying that? I know it's not a lot, but.
That's just the way the bank was set up with Banner, as long as I've been aware.
Normally, if you have a large account and you spend a lot of money or use a lot of money during the month, they don't charge a service charge. That's what he's trying to say.
Yeah, I'll call Ed up and try to browbeat him.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, and then I have one other one, and this is on CenturyLink. We have a system called VoIP. I have no idea what it stands for.
Voice over IP.
Voice.
Voice over IP.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, it runs off your computer. And basically, it costs little or nothing for long distance. And I wonder if that's worth us getting that. You need to spend some money on, I think, a computer card and, something different with your phone, but then our long distance is all free.
Yeah, I have voice over IP. I did it through Davis Computer in town. They do the hosting for it. I paid $1,000 up front to get 4 phones and then to hook up everything, $75 a month.
And you actually still have another phone?
I still have, yes, I have 4 phones, yeah.
Does that cover
In other
the
words, you're not
internet?
having to use your computer to.
No, that is not including the internet. You
This-
do have to have the internet.
This CenturyLink is also our internet. It's combined. It's, I do believe we have unlimited long distance and internet and the phone, business phone charge.
I think you are being charged for long distance.
Really? Because that could change.
There's
Change that.
the bill's in there.
Can we find out?
Because
Because if we can save a couple $100 a month,
Because I have that at my house. It's internet and unlimited long distance call waiting and all of that. And I only pay $75.
Can you fax with the voice system?
Yeah.
And keep the same phone number? Okay. I've seen VoIP, but I never knew what it stood for.
I didn't either, and I still can't remember.
Voice over.
You do it, we'll clean it up.
In other words, voice over the internet.
Yeah, and you're still gonna have to get your internet somewhere, and that's gonna wind up costing you some money, so you need to call CenturyLink and argue with them. They usually do really good, because you can get unlimited. It's a package I have, and this is business, so it probably costs a little more, but you get it all for that price.
I believe you are paying for internet included in that $235.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I remember.
There's also $23.99 for long distance services.
You don't use it much.
And that's unlimited.
That's the unlimited charge, I believe.
It just says on long distance services.
But anytime they think they're gonna lose you, they negotiate the price and drop it down.
Absolutely they do.
So, yeah, we'll get that done.
All right, those good questions, and we'll look into those. We have a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, all opposed? Passed unanimously. In line with this, let me slip this in here. I know, Charlie, it's gonna whack me. You and I have been talking about the balance on the shop.
Yeah.
We got the RFP for the electrical gone out.
Yeah. So, an insurance payment or a distribution from insurance to cover the whole, whatever outstanding balance that was owed to us was received. That was immediately deposited into the LGIP account. We only paid that one invoice out of it. And so the remaining balance is $38,853.92.
So that's what we have to work with and finish in the rest. Electrical and then interior.
What's the RFP say? Did you read the
Settlement.
He's lost it.
lawsuit, my lawsuit? And it said what you have to do on public contracts. And I sent everybody an email, and it says all counselors will read it and abide by it.
So what's,
Did everybody read it?
what's the particular
Yes,
issue?
sir.
Yes.
So your RFP, did it comply?
That's not here yet, because we just sent them out. But when it does, because we did RFP it, and we did tell them it had to come back in a double seal bid.
No, the RFP in the newspaper has to state what's in the law
No.
on what we need.
Well, it has to state how you submit your bids, but the RFP, did it just say, would you like to come down and tell us what you'd like to do for our lights? Or did it say we're gonna have 52 lights of this type or equivalent or something like that?
No, I left that part out. I'm the one that did it, Martin. And the reason for being is because it's gonna have to take somebody to come into this shop and look at this shop physically to see what needs to be done, to see what got put in it. Because it's not something that we're just running from the panel and doing everything all at one time.
We put in what the scope of work is, but not the details because we don't have a design. So,
But the main thing is to put in there that it was in a sealed bid. But everyone who comes out to see it's gonna have to call and make an appointment to see a shop. You can't get a bid on something. People have to figure out that they gotta come and tie into what's already been put in.
But what you need to do so you don't get your head ripped off is say, we want A, B, C, and D, so everybody's bidding on the same thing. And that's been part of the problem in the past. Because somebody bids on this, and somebody says, well, no, that's just as good. And then you have change orders to all that stuff, and it's just a giant mess. Ask John about it. He knows, he's been an electrical contractor.
Well, the city voted on the city electrician. Did you reference to your city electrician what you would like, and then you at least have an idea what to put in the bid?
Isn't that the layout that I gave you guys right there?
Yeah.
I gave you 2 layouts.
I only got
One, well, there's, what's it, hold it up, let me look. Shit, I can't see it. Is that long lines?
the little short ones.
Okay, that's the ones that Tim wants. I gave you ones for LEDs like I have in my shop. The ones that Tim wants are high bays. That's 50 lumens, each one of them. Either way. But Martin's right, if you don't say what you want.
It was my understanding that when the people called to make the appointment with us, that we would have the same list to provide to them.
Yeah, so they're all doing apples to apples. But we've still got to determine what that's gonna be. I mean, the ad is out. And I think we're okay on that, but, as far as what we actually are gonna put in, I guess we could get a hold of our electrician, have him come up, because I'm sure he'll probably put a bid. Have him come up and design it.
Well, the thing I was gonna do, and what I recommended is whenever, whoever the first person was that showed up there, and whatever the recommendation was that they decided to use that recommendation for everybody else when they showed up to see. So that way, it's, as Martin says, everything is clear. Now, if you wanna take John Patterson's and say, this is what you want, this is what we're gonna do, when they get here, you can hand them that.
Have you seen the other one that he's talking about? Must not have come through, John.
But wouldn't you get 3 different electricians with 3 totally different ideas on what would work?
You know, you can stipulate, it's just like sending out a set of plans. Problem is, the electrical diagram or schematic was never designed for the shop.
Well,
Plugs, nothing.
you know,
So,
what you do is you say, okay, this is what we want. You're gonna be bidding on putting this in and making sure it connects into what is there and works according to code. But if you use the first guy, what if he's an idiot? Or what if he has some kind of brand specific criteria, which in itself can be a violation of the public purchasing law. So, you know, that doesn't make any sense. You gotta say to everybody, this is what we want. We want so many lumens, we want high bay, low bay, you know.
The city doesn't have a lot of money to be paying the newspaper to write all of that stuff as well. I mean, as it is, it was over $80 to place that in the thing. I sent out the RFP to all of you council members and no one got back with me, so I sent it.
we can put in the ad for specifics for the RFP, contact City Hall. And we've got to have the same thing to give to everybody. I mean, we can hire an electrical engineer.
No, wait a minute. No.
Who else is gonna be qualified to do that? I mean, if he designs it, then technically can he bid on it?
He shouldn't, no.
Right. So,
But maybe he's willing to do that. We don't need an electrical engineer. John's not an electrical engineer. That's a totally different bailiwick. And we don't have to print all the specs. Like you build a new fire station, you don't have the newspaper print 50 pages of schematics.
Right.
So you can say, okay, the specs are available for examination between the hours of whatever at the city hall, contact Renee, or maybe she can email it to you.
Just say it's a bid package. If you want a bid package, you call City Hall, we can email it to you, so you don't have to drive up here. But you should tell them you have to do a site visit, but when you do a site visit, you say, we're doing it Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock, and it's mandatory. Then you know who's bidding on it. If they don't come, they don't bid.
Yeah, usually you gotta sign.
And then everybody gets the same information, the same time.
That has been the problem in the city for 20 years. It's been one particular family that's milked it to death.
So we do have asked them to contact City Hall. We did not give a date for for a walkthrough.
No, it was by appointment.
Um, I mean, you know, we probably have the flexibility to do that this time since it's already in the advertisement.
Well, the thing, and the reason why I went that route was because to get somebody that's working in Baker and you tell them they have to be here this day, well, they may want to bid on it, but they ain't going to because I'm busy. Where if they call and make an appointment and come up here, and you get to hand them that piece of
That's,
paper.
that's, you gotta pick your battles, Charlie.
But we're running an ad for 3 weeks. So the end of the month is the end of the day. So if you put down a visit 3 weeks, and they want to bid on it, they'll find a way to be there. All the bids that we did out in Colorado, you had to make time to go. If you didn't show up, you couldn't bid.
You didn't want to jump.
Yes, so give them enough time, they can work it, just like a doctor's appointment or anything else. So we'll have to work through this one.
Yeah.
Change our procedures, you know, from here on out.
It has to be prevailing wage too at this
I
point.
thought we discussed what you wanted a little bit in there, as far as how many lights and,
Right.
these two,
LED
yeah.
and outlets.
Yeah, there's, all the interior outlets are done. Only thing interior needs is, spool off and cap off wires that don't have walls to run in. And then install the lights. Outside, there are 4 exterior plugs and 4 exterior lights. We do have the lights, we don't have the plugs, or actually there's 5. There's a light over the man door.
So you guys could get with Renee and you can design the packet and have it ready.
I've been over with John and the boys talking about lights. Tim is pretty adamant with having it brighter than dimmer. Discussions with John as far as what Tim's idea are 4 lights and then how many. You can get it too bright. And as far as, you know, they're all LEDs, initial cost is not huge, $100 a piece. But as far as brightness, you got white walls, white ceilings, and you'll have a cement floor, so it's going to be very reflective. Just for grids, John, you and I talked about having 3 rows of 5 and how bright that was going to be.
High bays,
Of the,
those are high bays.
yeah, the high bays.
And high bays are meant to be over 25 feet. You got a 14-foot ceiling. So I know they're bright and everything, they look bright, but I've been in places where they put those, when the LEDs first came out, and you can't hardly look up because it's just, they're so intense.
So you're gonna put together a list of what we want done. So when somebody comes, now, are we asking them to get material, or we were gonna go ahead and buy the?
We discussed that, yeah, we were gonna go
I
ahead and
mean, all
do
that
the
needs to
purchase.
be,
I have the list, with the exception of, how many lights and what kind.
Are you gonna bid on this, John? Would you be willing to help me?
Yeah, if you want my help.
I do. I don't know if anybody else does, but I
we need to
do.
have a list, so when somebody does bid on it,
Yeah.
we tell them what we want, they don't tell us what we want.
Right. And John knows what
Yeah, I
our
have no
work.
problem with,
Yeah.
because I thought we kind of had discussed and made some decisions.
Yeah. And go look at John's shop. I mean, it's nice in there.
Of course, he's not finished inside yet, so we don't really get the lumen.
No, but
It's
it's,
pretty much what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
The gravel takes away, I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
when I told them to ask them to do that layout for me, they're like, gravel? Well, it takes away, but a concrete floor reflects, you know.
And the one shop won't have concrete flooring. It's
Greg,
gonna
can we
stay
get
gravel.
that done this week, so that if somebody calls, we have the information? Can we get it done this week, or you gonna have?
Yeah, we can do that. Are you around the rest of the week or when you leave?
I'm, going back tomorrow. We could do it tomorrow morning first thing, but I'm going back for carpal tunnel surgery, so that's why.
Oh, yeah.
I'm interested in bidding it.
We can do that here.
I haven't been Baker at 11 anyway, so.
You want to do it at 8?
8, fine, your place.
Shop?
Shop?
Good.
All right, thank you, John. Okay, take care of that. Let's see, the snowmobile race, Sumter Volunteer, or Sumter Valley Snowmobile. We did get. Where's my desk in there? Okay, we got the certificate of liability insurance. We have the application, and we have an indemnity agreement for the city and Dave Simonson. So, we just got these just a little bit ago. I don't know if you want to look at these or not, but the indemnity agreement is 8 pages long. So, but it looks like everything should be in order. So, just glance at those. With the museum, the wall you're gonna bank down there, is that got sheetrock on it, or what is the wall? Is sheetrock? Plaster? So it's not bare brick, it's got a covering on it.
Yeah, I have pictures of what's gonna be done, do you want to see?
Yes, please.
Did you want to do it, Tony? Yeah, we're starting on flipping the museum with it. Here you go. It will be, how do you say it again, Bash?
That's Shane.
Bash, and that will go on, it'll be actually in the corner where the
Yeah, where the wagon was.
wagon was, yeah, and that's what it looks like.
So that whole thing?
Yes, and then it goes, on the other side is the huge hotel. Which will be on the other side. Yeah, so it kind of goes like this.
Right. Wow.
And then we're gonna have certain residents that lived at the time, you know how you can get those giant cardboard cut up? We'll blow up the photographs of them, and so it'll look real, like if they're 3D.
Oh, okay.
When are you starting, when are you gonna start?
Huh?
When are you gonna start?
With your approval, next Monday.
And both walls got plaster, well, one's the library wall, right? They both got plaster on.
Yeah, if anybody has any scaffolding floating around, Carrie's is buried under 9 feet of snow with an ice pack jam. So if anybody else has any, let us know. Eventually I'll get short. 2 ladders in the board. Yeah.
Any concerns? No. Entertain a motion to approve the remodel, artistic remodel of the library as specified.
Was it for free?
Yes. Of course it is. What do I do to secure that I
I make a motion to
Jennifer Roxrock.
paint the museum walls as presented with the 2 photos.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I don't know.
Unanimously. There's Next issue is a flea market roundtable.
Oh, yeah, I get to come back again. Okay, February 25th at 5:30, we are planning a flea market roundtable, which will include marketing. We're gonna cover marketing, sponsorship, promotions, funding, review of past flea markets. We've been wanting to do this for about a year. So I decided, what the heck, I'll run the meeting. I do not want to be the leader of the flea market, however, but I will assist putting the program together and then coming back with a proposal to the city after that particular meeting. And then you guys can take whatever you want to do and go from there.
Okay.
The meeting is planned to be at the community center, but we will be following COVID procedure. And we do think we can get at least 30 people in there, which I'm sure we'll have a few.
That's a schoolhouse.
Yeah, well, I always call it the community.
What day and time?
It's February 25th at 5:30. It'll go relatively quick. It's not gonna be, it's gonna be really well organized, so it's in, out, not 2 hours, 3 hours.
Are you gonna discuss having accountings for it for the first time in years?
Yeah, we're trying, that falls under the budget, and I'll be having a long conversation with Rob before we even get to that.
Is Lyle gonna bring his favorite cookie, or his, special cookies?
Lyle's Cookies.
Yes.
It's Debbie's.
I know you can cook them, so that's.
They're Debbie's. They're not mine.
Oh.
Anyway, so that's it. And also we'll be discussing a new thing that came up just today, is adding a website for the flea market. It'll be an exclusive website where people can actually register online, pay online, the whole thing. So, and that was offered free. All of this will be free.
Wonderful. As you all know, we have been, even before COVID hit, we've been in a turmoil concerning the functioning of the flea market, and this has been something we've discussed many times in concerns, and Jennifer, thank you for taking this by the horns.
Yeah, I will not be the director though. I just want to get it organized, and then you guys can hunt for what you truly need from this. You'll probably discover exactly the type of individual you need, instead of just going, gee, that person said yes, they'll volunteer. Because this could grow rapidly into a new program. I was heavily involved in the Sisters Quilt Show for years and Sisters, and they have 5 paid staff people full-time. So, and you have the last count, not this past year, but the last count before, 42,000 people in one day. So it's a massive event, and it's a massive economy for Central Oregon now. But we have a long way to go to get there. But
All right, look forward to it. Thank you. Circling back, Martin, did you see any problem with any of these documents that city should be using?
Well, I'm not your lawyer,
Correct.
but that indemnity agreement's only between Simonson and the Snowmobile Club. Sumter, I don't think it's got one in there, do they? What was that?
That's on our fairgrounds application.
Our fairgrounds
Application
Oh,
has
okay,
it.
is that,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, I
that's,
saw it, yeah.
yeah,
So,
you know, it's mostly for Simonson's benefit.
Yeah, it's on our
Right.
fairgrounds.
I have it.
And Sumter's named as an additional insured.
Yes. Okay, so we have been provided with these, event conditions, so the event is go this weekend. Old business, system engineering, we all have the, you don't, do you have the plot plan?
Yeah.
Okay. The solid line is the current route of our main line. And the jog at the top is the top of our facility right now. So the dotted line is a proposed new route. It would abandon the twists and turns and the longevity. It goes to enters the north of the lot, which is also where the residence is of the new owners of lot number 1,000. So the proposal to the landowner we have the easement through is that one, it's safer for them by abandoning that line in the event of blowout or leakage would be down near their residences could create a lot of problems for the city. And going straight up the bridge is less footage, easier maintenance, and it gives us better access to the upper part of our lot for future expansion. And it's easier on the new equipment that we're putting in to pump and so forth. So we've got to communicate, come up with an agreement if council prefers this route with the landowners to abandon that and give a new easement straight up the ridge for the same owners. So,
Which is our other piece of land besides where the reservoir is?
we own, of course, down below where the pond is. And I believe the other piece of land, this is one lot, isn't it?
Because that's how come he put that line in here, because when he was here, he was saying that instead of coming down this way, that if we came up this way, then he could access this easier. Yeah.
So my understanding was that other
'Cause this is-
20 acres was over here.
This is a ridge
Right.
that runs down through here. But that line's gonna come across instead of being down in the hole.
Right.
But we need to present this to the people who bought before
Mhm.
and see if they agree with it. If they do, then we can vote on that behalf,
Right.
because that's the first stage, right?
Right.
And then also, I wanted to just bring up, since we're on this, because this is the very first time I was ever out at Sewer Pond, because I opened up the road for the power company. There's a tree over here, and that tree should be removed, and that's where that pond needs to go.
Yeah, right next to the pond there.
Yeah, because it needs to come out, and that's where we need to move the pump. Jeff and Tim were out there when I did this, and they told me that that's where they were going to put it, is where this shows. That's a bad spot for it, because when you go to pull the pump, you got overhead power lines. So you have to deal with those, because like I said, you gotta pull it out.
If we use the existing building.
Well, the building's okay, but that's where they were gonna put the pump. You can see how they got it next to the building. And that's where they were gonna put it, is what they said. And if you put it there, the power lines go right overhead. So therefore, when you get a crane in there to lift the pump in and out, if you ever had to service it, the power lines get in the way. I say put it over here on the other side. Then we'll have to do an underground power system to go to the existing house. Because that's where you're gonna put your electronics. So basically, you just have to run 3-phase lines out to the pump. But the thing is, at least out there, you're not underneath that power line when you get ready to start lifting that pump in and out there.
It terminates right.
Right there. Mhm. Well, no, the power lines go overhead.
Oh, they go,
All the way through, they go way up here.
yeah, they go this direction.
Which one? Yeah, they run right over the top of that house. The only thing that we would have to do is put the fence around it if you wanted to. Which you really, I don't see why you would. because that's not gonna be an open hole. You should have some sort of lid over it, so it don't fill up with snow.
Well, you'll have a lot.
You should have the lid open. But anyways,
Okay, so we'll have to go a little farther and discuss this with the new owners. And if it's a go, then we'll have to drop the contract and we can let Sissel Engineering know to redesign that. Okay, the HECO alternatives, they did go ahead and take option 1 and option 2 and combine them. Have you all had a chance to look this over?
It's still cheaper than putting power, option 1 power up on option 2. That cost was a lot higher. Could they just pour the pad for the generator and not put it in here? Just have it ready,
Well, we
or we
have,
wouldn't get a grant for that.
right,
so-
we have the financing now, so.
Yeah.
We need to see if we can get grants. We need to see if we can get some grants. for this.
So we need to approve this and then go on to grants, hunting for grants. No, they said they were gonna help us with
They
grants.
said they have, because they've
Yeah.
given out 100% grants.
Yeah, they'd help us with the paperwork too.
And basically, I mean, they're presenting to us what we asked them, and that was to combine the two options.
This generator, it is for the purpose of operating the treatment equipment, isn't it?
no,
It's
it's
actually,
all it is to run the pump from down below up above.
Well,
Huh?
no, it's for power outages.
well,
To run the water system to go up.
Yeah,
That's all
so
for the
everything
pump.
else.
Chlorination and all that, wasn't it? It was supposed to be
It'll
chlorination.
run it all, but the reason why the generator's so big is to run that pump.
Yeah, that's.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, you could go up there with a little Honda generator to
And
do
run
the
everything
rest of
else,
it.
yeah.
But I figured I would cut it to the chase, because that's where Martin, I think, was going for the price of the generator.
Yeah, exactly, you know. Okay, but if it's for the pump, that takes a lot. We aren't gonna do any of this unless we get a grant, right? 100%?
That's what, Eco has said. They've done these before for other small. They're gonna help us. We can pay for work and try to find it.
Try to get a block grant.
Well, for $232,000, I hope they help us.
Yeah, they, you know, kind of-
So I guess I'm going back, I'm circling back. Nobody's picked up on that yet.
I did.
Oh, okay. Circling back to our last conversation concerning this. And that was to combine the two options, the bigger tanks, generator and so forth. So now that they've done that, we can have another workshop to compare this to those other two options again. Or if we're ready to,
I would say that we already went through the workshop and we were on the phone with Tico, so to me, coming back with these numbers should all be the same. The gallons and everything, because they did what we asked them to do, so this should be enough to move forward.
correct, all they presented to us was what the cost was.
Right.
That's what the difference is.
So if that's the way that's the way that we want to go.
all they did was move the generator from option 2 down to option 1.
Pretty much.
And that's it, and then adjust the price because of that.
But I think if we can get 100% grant, then it's a no-brainer to do it all. If we can't get 100% grant, then I suggest that what we do is we put in the grid to hook a generator into. In other words, the pad will be in and the electronics will be there, but you're going to leave off that price of the generator. Because in other words, the city's going to have to come up with that. Because all we would have to do is, if all of the electronics was in, is go rent a generator and plug it in.
A grant's a grant, though, we're gonna include it all.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So what, make a motion that we, accept the new alternate 1 with the conditions of obtaining a grant with Eco's help.
Yeah, you can, this is a description now, you can make the option to go with the hybrid option, which is what this is. Or you can go with option A, that we looked at before, or B, which is the one that had the generator.
So it's the hybrid alternate.
I entertain a motion to accept option A, B, or hybrid.
Hybrid.
That's what this is.
John, you had something?
I just, so this is for power, this generator's for power outages, right?
Yeah.
So you get chlorination in the water and stuff. How long is it gonna take you to go to Baker, find a generator that's not already rented because they're there?
If our
And get it up here and plug it in?
If our system shuts down, then it takes quite a process to get it back up, so, and there's potential being in violation and everything else, this just wipes.
Oh, no, I'm saying you should have a generator on site.
Oh,
That's what versus a 200 amp outlet that you plug into with the rental. Okay, because by the time you go down and get, how much chlorine did you miss?
well, no, the point is, it shuts the system down. Okay, and then the reboot and the water that is not treated and so forth, it's an issue. And, for our compliances. And
Yeah, no,
This
no,
is, this
I'm
is
not,
strictly.
I'm just saying you should have a generator.
Yeah, so, we want to keep it as simple as possible. The easiest thing for us to do is just buy one, get it under a contract for maintenance and, in my opinion, and just be done with it.
How big is this generator? 3-phase?
I believe so.
How big?
Right.
Or it's gonna have to be probably at least, probably 95 kilowatts.
The reason I asked that question was I heard 200 amp.
That was just a number I pulled out.
Yeah.
Is it in the proposal?
I'll entertain a motion or we'll move on.
Okay, I make a motion to accept the hybrid alternative from HECO, with the understanding to look for and their help, to obtain a grant.
What was the cost on the other two?
Well, she got the big binder there. One was 1.5.
And 1 point. You didn't get those papers?
I don't have it.
Alternative one was 1.4.
4.56.
4.
1.4, and alternative 2 is 1.
Yeah, backwards.
How much?
It says alternative 2 was 1.6.
This is cheaper than both of them, huh?
Yeah.
All right, do we have a second for the motion to accept the hybrid proposal?
I'll second it.
Second.
Have a good grant.
All in favor? All right, all opposed? All right,
I think that's what Pico needed, to know if we were to go forward,
right.
and then we could contact them and make sure.
Start the process for funding. Okay, fairgrounds, May wedding. Update on that.
On this paper.
Ms. Clark, is okay with one sport vehicle staying at the grounds. Everybody else will find other facilities. Alcohol is not provided, it's bring your own. So those were our two concerns.
Did anybody find out if somebody needs a server's permit even though it's bring their own?
As long as it's a bring your own, no, you don't. And as long as, and if you were, because it's, even if it was self-serve, in other words, somebody brings a big ice jet, because they figure that the law states that if you're serving the minors, every adult there is going to be in trouble.
Does it hurt to have a server's license required on city property so we don't have another lawsuit? I mean, it'd be nice if some of the revenue in this town went to the town instead of a lawyer over a lawsuit.
Hey, now.
What's the matter? No offense, Martin, but, you know, it's kind of common sense, sir. I hate to work that out, but it doesn't cost the city anything to say you have to have a server's license. And they might have somebody, a friend, that has a server's license in that part.
All of the people here in town that has a server's license can't serve alcohol. Very, very few of them. Because you gotta go through LOC, not through the serving. So you gotta keep your server's license right. Because you gotta go through LOC. You can't just.
That's the only way I know of getting one.
That's right. But that's not a server's license, that's for alcohol. That does not do the food end of it. The food end of it comes from different.
I'm talking about the alcohol. Nobody's gonna get it driving while fat. Driving while full. You know?
Family used to have reunions at Blue Ridge Park. It was never an issue. So we just basically have a.
Yeah, picnic when somebody takes a beer home.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we proceed and let the Clarks, hold their wedding with what they stipulated.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Passed unanimously. RFP for city attorney, still working on that. Resolution number 38821. City account signers, it's removing Mick Allen, who's no longer a councilman, and appointing Charlie Briscoe as a signer, co-signer on all our accounts. So, what's that?
You need to read it?
You want to read it?
I don't want to read it.
You don't have to read a resolution.
No, just like that.
So everybody knows what it says.
The title, I'm just letting everybody know what it is. So, so resolution number 388-21, remove and add signer on all banking accounts. Entertain a motion to pass resolution.
Also move.
Martin, a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Passed unanimously. Okay, city buildings use inventory.
I'm currently working on that, downloading the tax lot IDs and going to the maps and locating them all, so I'll have that next council.
Okay. The ATV route workshop, the update is, there's been a lot of effort put into getting to where we are, and we really appreciate everybody's effort in that. Snowmobile associations, Andersons, the members of council. We're gonna leave well enough alone at this point. We've got too many other things on our plate. And the solutions that we currently employ are working. That is the ATV route within the city is down the highway, and the Snowmobile Association has their route. So, so at some point down the road, we may reconsider. We got time, a completely different route situation, as has been brought up, but at this point, we're going to end the discussion on that. So,
Well, whose decision is that?
on the ATV route,
Do we make a decision on that?
we made the decision on the ATV route down through town with the state approval.
Okay, but did we make a decision not to pursue any other, or was that the workshop?
Oh, yeah, because it says workshop. We had talked about a workshop before to discuss further routes.
Well,
Two, haven't we already?
Well, the thing is though, is, as I recall, the reason why we set for a workshop and then it didn't come forward, because at least I was led to believe that what ended up out on the highway was a temporary and we needed an alternate route. So we got a hold of, what's his name? Ian, and he says that is a permanent route, it's forever and a day, and you do not have to have an alternate route. So with that being said, pretty much nips it in the bud, and I said, well, then we don't need to worry about an alternate route. But before, I was led to believe we had to have an alternate route. So with that being said, and now, seeing as I got the floor, because of this ATV route that is on the highway, Officer Rob was here over the weekend, and he has made a statement that now that the city has wanted this and we did this, anybody without insurance, anybody not wearing a helmet is going to get a ticket, and he wrote one this weekend already, that I know of. So anybody who's riding, pay attention, because everybody thinks they got away with it before, and you ain't gonna get away with it for much longer.
But if you had an alternate route, you wouldn't have to worry about a helmet.
We have alternate routes, we don't need to worry
Just
about
saying.
it. Well, I'm just saying, we have alternate routes everywhere. Everybody can go anywhere they wanna go in this city and always have been able to. And they still, the only difference is now, John, is we get to run up and down the city highway legally.
You do need to update your ordinance though for the quad. And I think if you call Ian, he will help you with
Yeah.
that information.
I already have all the ordinances from Baker County, every city in Baker County and Lakeview.
Your ordinance was written before there were side-by-sides and 4 levels of quads, so you're kind of,
It's completely out of date.
that included a lot of people in your town space. How you're on the ordinance.
That's what I thought you were doing at the workshop.
So we need to rewrite that ordinance to include the new technology.
And it's legal on Mill Street, because it says in there you can't ride on Mill Street.
What about snowmobiles?
That's a separate issue as far as the
Simon's
highway
given
goes.
us permission, we're going through his property to connect everything.
Hey Greg, is that helmet law thing just for the regular quads, not the side by side?
Side by side's gotta wear your seatbelt, you don't have to have a helmet unless you're underage.
You gotta have insurance.
You gotta have it
Yeah, you have to have insurance.
in the car.
And all 8, the 4-wheelers or whatever has to have a helmet.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
We have the electronic.
Yeah. Two last issues. Need to entertain a motion to give the city's attorney, Mr. Stump, authority to pursue course of action as was presented in our executive session, discussed in our executive session.
I'll make the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That's unanimously. I will give a hold of Josh.
All right, single electronic use policy has been edited. It concerns counselors and official volunteers for the city. It's just like we discussed before, it's a formal presentation of equipment that is loaned out, needs to be checked out, goes over what is parameters are, use of care, who's responsible, and so forth. If it meets with everybody's approval, I entertain a motion to accept this as our electronic use policy.
Make a motion to accept the resolution 2021-389, the city electronic user policy.
Thank you for that. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passed unanimously. Any other issues council has?
Renee?
The propane, it's a propane generator, 30 kilowatt, ATS 250 gallon fuel storage tank.
For that much money?
It's all the wiring and the slab and all that stuff that goes with it.
It's huge.
$235 for just a generator, is that? And this lab?
I'm in the wrong business.
Okay,
I have a 14 kW that I pay $2,000.
what's it?
And I did the wiring myself.
But it's not three phases, is it?
No, it's not 3 that's true. I have a question. It was brought to my attention that, and I asked Renee if we have an ordinance. I see signs around town that says ATV is 15 miles an hour. Do we have an ordinance that says that's it? or for snowmobiles? And what's the penalty for violating it? Because they're going crazy. As far as speed goes, I think the biggest way to slow them down would be if we had an ordinance that specified the speed and a penalty. Maybe we can get the cops to write a few tickets and get people to slow down. Because somebody's gonna get killed with these snowbirds stacked up at the intersection.
I don't know, those mileage signs, they showed up like in, was it like 2010 or 12? I don't know who put them up on, I just know that all of a sudden they were up. They put an 18 for each speed route and they put a mileage. So I don't know if we put them up.
Well, I'm just wondering if we could have Renee look to see if there is one.
But we could write it in
That's a
the,
good question.
couldn't we write it into this ordinance if we can update the ATV ordinance? Could we
Sure.
write it in there?
But it includes snowmobiles and speed and a fine.
Well, I haven't seen the ATV one yet for the city, but I do have the one for the snowmobile.
Does it say the speed?
I can't, but I know we have an ordinance though for snow, there's two different entities.
Okay. And then the other thing is, what's with this library MOU that we have here?
Library music, what?
Oh, that's the contract for the library. We need to review that and the White House one.
Which one?
The White House, that is run by
Superintendent's house.
superintendent's house.
Oh, the money pit.
So, yeah, we need to go through those. So do we, I don't currently have a copy of the White House contract. Do we need to set that as a separate date, a workshop, discuss it?
We need to address that.
So workshop in a couple of weeks? I gotta get a copy of that contract. I don't have it up for the White House club that uses it. It's the Sumter Valley Volunteer Club is the
I think I
contract.
have a copy of that. I think I saw a copy of it. I'll look at it.
So, I don't know, I'm pretty free with everybody who wants to do a workshop with me. I know there's a lot going on in this.
We want the 17th through the 19th. This month. Yeah, so maybe next week again. As I told.
Towards the end of the month.
So we're gonna have a workshop. We're gonna go over the contracts with the library and White House. Do both in the same way?
Yeah.
They're in the same context. Okay, Linda, what do you want to add there?
That's what I'm going the 17th through the 19th. Unless it snows a lot.
It's supposed to be, well, see, next one, no, it's supposed to rain now. We got snow coming Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week. And then after that, it's supposed to rain.
Yeah, of course it changes.
Monday's a holiday.
What holiday's Monday? President's Day.
President's Day.
Over everything.
Well, that's what they're gonna teach.
Used to be
Well, I mean, this all, because we can do it on Monday because Martin ain't working.
I
No,
work every day
Oh,
to make America a better place for you to live in.
without a job.
You ought to fire me.
Let's do it following the 22nd through the 26th.
Is there any day, Martin, that you have that you could do a workshop a little earlier than 4?
Yeah, I know next week I've got appointments in Boise.
this is towards the last week of the month,
So
22nd.
I'll make sure I can be there.
So we do one, what's the earliest you could, you could devote some time? 3, 2,
How about 3?
3?
Okay.
Yeah.
And any day that last week?
Yeah. By the way, this MOU, this isn't the contract.
Yes, I think I'll be gone.
We have the roundtable the evening of the 25th, that's Thursday, so any day other than that.
It's not a real contract.
Yeah. That's
It's, it's like kissing your sister.
But when was it?
The only thing that we have, or I have, that week, from the 26th and 26th, is the roundtable. So,
I'm good, Martin's good, so we're good.
everybody's good?
Yeah, whatever day. Okay.
So what day?
Let's do, we have a council session on the 23rd. So that won't work either. Let's do Monday,
22nd,
22nd, 3 o'clock.
okay.
What day of the week's that?
That's
Monday.
Mark.
Monday the 22nd, 3 o'clock.
And Renee, why don't we see if we can find the ATV or snowmobile,
I've already been asked to find it.
okay, pull those out, let's put them in our boxes so we can look at them. And at the next council meeting on the 23rd, we can discuss that and we'll have a workshop on this. Okay, the council is done. Yes,
I have a quick idea while Robert's here. With the water sewer statements, is there any chance we could voluntarily have an email list? And if anybody wants to receive their water sewer statements via email, Rob could spit those out, save the city some postage and paper.
good suggestion.
Yeah, QuickBooks will do it on that. I just need email addresses for.
We'll just have a little, we can put that out with the next billing, and then they can return that to you. Or
Yeah, we can put a
City
letter in the next bill, absolutely, sure.
They can return it either to Rob or to the city,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter, whichever's easiest for them.
So we just put that on our bill and send it to you with the.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it that way, it's for the people that want it at this meeting, yeah, you can absolutely do that, or just call us or whatever. I mean, it's pretty, super easy.
Jennifer.
Just an update on the church water.
Oh, yeah.
It's all paid up except for $69. So if somebody in this wonderful community would like to write out $69 as a donation, we have made our goal on your payment.
And do they know who to tell?
I'm not sure. It's all been privately done.
Yeah. Right.
Good town. Next.
$69.
Hey, hold on, are you saying that they can pay you over the email?
No, we don't have any way to take credit card payments right now, I think that'd be great, great thing to do. We don't currently have that. We did attempt to do it through QuickBooks, and they are not willing to work with governments on that, so we need to find another third-party vendor.
It's just getting your bill.
We need to, we should look into that, because we have a lot of people who want to pay with, online with the credit card. I think that would be something that we need to look into. And then I also talked to Rob also that, with this, is that in the past, we used to swap out individual work, and say, hey, take it off my bill. Yeah, and after talking with Rob, that makes a bigger hassle for everybody. So from here on out, everything, if you have a bill, you get to pay it. If we get a bill, we'll pay it.
I never heard of being kind.
There were some rare circumstances for certain people that.
Well, went back in the day, I remember I did it, but that was because of everything was done in-house. And they still had to go through certain steps to do it, but
Yeah, but how with your water report?
right now, Rob, the way Rob is it's out there. So we just need to keep it a lot simpler. So can I make a motion that we adjourn?
I don't know, does Martin need to be present for that?
We have a forum.
Yeah. Yeah, he's here, so. And I know he usually is the boisterous one. Anything else? I just want to say, most people that are here are regulars, and it means a lot to us, We appreciate your efforts, your attention, your advice, your questions. So, thanks. Yeah. John, yeah.
I'll work you out an estimate for that shop.
Okay.
If your pricing comes in way over, you can always reject the bid. You do not have to take, a $30,000 bid for probably a $5,600 job.
Right. Right.
So, we'll see how close I am to 5,600. Just I just
Well, the bigger, John.
Yeah, everything else is wired.
Yeah, John, it's gotta be in the sealed bid though, so it can't be a quote.
He's not bidding.
The quote is a bid.
Right, but that's what I'm saying.
No, I'm just working up an estimate.
No, it's a reference.
It's a reference, Charlie,
Make sure it says that.
because right now you have no idea,
It says that.
and you're gonna get 2,000 to 10,000. So if you have a reference.
John had commented earlier, this has to be prevailing wage. Have we done any work to verify that or to make sure that's included in the bid?
Insurance company told us that outside work, outside contractor had to be your.
I just said no.
In-house and Bedford, but out of house.
Yeah, because that way everybody's on the same page.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's already been over $20,000.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Wait, I have a question.
Okay.
On the water bills, we start charging interest. And we give them, they gotta be paid within 35 or 30 days, is that right? Right?
No, we bill on the 1st, they're due on the 25th,
Okay, when do we start charging interest?
the next day.
25th, 26th, yeah.
26th. Okay, we don't go, if they don't pay on the 26th, we don't go retroactively to the 1st, right? They get that first 25 days free?
So if they come in on the 25th and pay it, there's no late fee.
No, but he's asking if it's on the 26th, so they get interest on 25 days.
From the first.
And I don't think that happens, because you'd have a lot more than.
The interest gets added when the next bill comes out on the 1st.
Okay,
That's when that interest gets added, if it hasn't been paid on the
No,
1st.
that's not what he's calculating. He's saying when's it calculated from, not when's it
Oh,
added.
yeah, that's a Rob question. I don't do the,
It's only on, it starts on the 6th. It's added on the next bill, but it starts from the 26th day.
From the 26th,
Yes.
okay, well, we're not subject to rate Z. Cities aren't,
What's that?
cities aren't subject to rate Z. So we're clean on that.
That's lawyer.
That's truth and money.
Oh,
The 10 pages you get when you finance a car and you don't read any of it except what's the monthly cost.
So our goal isn't to finance water and sewer. Just to throw that out there.
Right, but you know, it's a specific exemption from regulations.
okay, if there's nothing else.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You all can vote too if you'd like tonight. Meeting's adjourned. It is
Yes.
5:46.
Whoa.
Wow.